What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back. Today we're working on my TV tracking software. So, project is, I forget what I watch, I forget what's on, maybe I've like watched a couple seasons of some TV show and I just like don't hear that it comes back on and I completely forget about it. So, I needed some way to like track all of that. There are like shows split across different streaming services, whatever, so it's not like reasonable to rely on one source of info when I just want to think like, what do I want to watch? I want to watch something, not like I want to watch a Netflix thing, right? Um, and I don't want it to be like, I don't want to use one of those like online trackers. One, because I want to own the data, and two, might want to add features that like those online ones don't support, whatever. So I have this thing where I have my TV shows. They show like with this like little red and green bar, how much of each thing I've watched. I can like rate them, right? So I can like make categories for things that I like and sort them that way. And right now the way it works is like I click on a show and I just like click on these episode titles and they go from like red to green, and green means I've watched them, red means I haven't. Problem recently is that a friend was like, "Do you want to watch this show?" And I'm like, "Oh, do I have to start at the beginning?" They're like, "No, because it's shit. Like reality TV, you don't need to watch from the start. You just need to watch what's on right now. And you might want to watch like the story arc for this season, right?" And so what I want is some ability to flag to my system that I don't actually want to watch these old episodes, right? I think right now, if I like start a TV show that I haven't watched and I click on like I've watched all of season 2, if I go back here, it'll say that I've watched 50% of the show, which is like true. But it doesn't know that like I don't care about watching this. And so like it'll always clutter up this like, what's the next thing you want to watch? It'll always clutter this up. And so I want to find a way to be like, no, I don't want to watch that. And so I think what I want to do is I want to add a way to, instead of like clicking on this and saying watched or unwatched, probably I'm going to have like some sort of like thing on the left that lets me set the watch status to either like skipped, watched, or unwatched or something like that. And yeah, I think that's what we want to do today. So I think plan of action is probably to first hook it up to the database, add a way in the database to represent watched or skipped now as like an additional watch state. Then we need to add some way to like communicate that to like the web browser that's like presenting this info to us, and then we have to add that to the UI in some way. I think that's kind of the course of action. So this thing is written in Rust, and I haven't actually looked at this for a long time. So we actually are going to have to figure out where these things get slotted in. There is a fucking annoying thing happening where a bunch of like cached images are showing up in my watch history, or in my like search here, so I just want to get those out of the way. All of the res is fine, resources being in here is fine, Rust being in here is fine. Okay, we're chilling. Are we using TMDB? I don't think so. I think I used some free API. Let's see if we can figure out what I'm using. OMDB for movies, if I remember correctly. Where does it construct the indexer? Probably in my application, add show, TV Maze. TV Maze is what I'm using as the backend for shows. And I think I just like searched for like APIs that I don't need an API key for, because I didn't want to have to worry about like API limits and stuff. Okay. So database is probably where we're going to be looking for getting started here. Okay, so what is our like schema? I have no fucking idea. Initialize connection, okay. And it looks like we have gone over several iterations here. So we went from like our initial database through a bunch of upgrade functions that adjust some tables, which actually makes figuring out what the fuck the current tables are a pain in the ass. So let's just pull up SQLite browser, and we can just open the database in its like current state and see what we're working with. So SQLite browser test database. Okay, so we have a shows table, which has metadata about the show, but not about when I watched it. We have ratings for each show, and we have episode watch status. This is probably it. Oh, I see. So we have shows, and each show has a bunch of episodes that are linked back to the show. And then I just have a watch status thing that just sets the watch date of a given show. Okay. Interesting. So if we were to say, hey, I want to skip an episode, the way that we can't just like update this field to be like watched or skipped. We probably need to track somewhere whether or not we want to skip it. So Lou, how long have you been learning Rust for? Oh, dude, I've been writing Rust for like forever. Like, I read about it when it was not like brand new, like post 1.0 era, but it was still pretty fresh. I think like maybe like 10 years almost. Maybe a little less than that. Maybe like 8 years is probably when I picked it up. I picked it up in college because I just thought it was cool. And it's stayed cool in my head for that whole time. Okay, let me think about this. So, I guess for now, I'll just make a new table for skipped episodes. That seems like maybe reasonable. Because, like, the watch date thing, I think makes sense. Because another thing that I'm going to want to do in the future is I'm going to want to count how many times I've watched an episode. And keeping track of when I watch them is also probably relevant in some way. So I think leaving this schema the way it is, where I have episodes to watch dates, is like reasonable. And then I'll just also have episode to skip, like maybe just skipped episodes table, and I just store episode IDs in there. That seems like semi-reasonable, except it doesn't enforce the like uniqueness of either it's skipped or it's watched. And it would be nice if my database couldn't get into an invalid state where I have something as both skipped and watched. But maybe we'll just live with that for now. Maybe we'll live with that. Okay. So, it looks like, if I remember correctly, also, hey, it's been a while. Is this a TV tracker you made? Yeah, this is actually the first time I'm showing it on screen, so you're not really missing much, to be honest. Okay, so if I remember correctly, I wanted to split things off by like things that I modify and things that the indexer modifies. So like, if I remember correctly, episodes is supposed to be a table where I never modify stuff with user input, only things that came from the indexer. And so I should be careful to keep that constraint in. But otherwise, I think that it's just that doesn't change the approach. So I think what we're going to have to do is we're just going to have to upgrade our database. Looks like the scheme we've been using essentially is every time we add a new table or alter a table, we update the version of the database, then we read the version that's in the database, and if it is older than what we want, we run our upgrade function. So I'm going to have to add like an upgrade v6 to v7 function that's going to add our like skipped episode table, I guess. And we can just kind of copy this API. What config are you using for NeoVim? I mean, it's just like, I started with the default and just tweaked until it looked good for myself. Pretty much the major components here are language servers and Telescope. Those are like the two things that I use pretty heavily. Other than that, it's like default with some minor tweaks. Okay, so what did I just copy? Did I just copy paste the wrong thing? What the fuck was I doing? Here. Upgrade v5 to v6 is now going to be upgrade v6 to v7, and we're going to add a table here. So probably creating a transaction makes sense. And executing a bunch of shit also makes sense. So here we execute some stuff. It's not going to be creating the movies table anymore. And we have a map, an error that we like to map in here. So, oh, we also need to update the user version. That's important. So this guy from V6, he's going to go to V7. Cool. We're going to map our error to something like db creation error create skipped episodes. That seems like a reasonable error name. And here we're going to have skipped episodes. And I guess we're not going to worry about... I think there's only going to be one thing in here. And it's going to be the episode ID. Which is going to be a foreign... for EIGN. Foreign key. And he's going to say episode ID references. References. Episodes ID. That seems reasonable to me. And this isn't text. This is a integer, not null. All right, and we should be chilling. Okay. And then we have to commit the transaction. Boom. Easy. And we have to create this create skipped episodes error type. So here we'll just create skipped episodes. Failed to create skipped episodes table. All right. Easy, easy, easy. Okay. So now, I think that if I remember correctly, there should be enough unit tests in here that, nice, will fail if I forget to, if something goes wrong. And it looks like all of these guys are actually just failing because the upgrade successfully ran, but they're expecting version 6 of the database. So probably somewhere in here in my tests, I'm probably, well, where are these assertions coming from? 1609GG, line 1609. Oh, here. So it's just when I create the database, I'm like, hey, run all my upgrade functions, and then before we continue, make fucking sure that we're at the right version. And so here I should be saying that we expect version 7 now. Boom. And all of our tests still pass, which is a good sign, which means that the this code is either not running, or it's not, or it's like syntactically correct. And it looks like it is running because we're getting this assert version 7 at the end. So if we take this function out, oopsies, of the upgrade list, we should see that we are, we failed because we didn't run the code that upgrades to version 7. Cool. And yeah, I think we're chilling. So the next thing to do would be to add a function on our database to set the skip status. Wow, there's a lot of code in here. Holy fuck. Geez. Okay, so maybe it should live by watch status. Episode watch status. Here, set episode watch status. Okay. And I guess here we're just going to add a new function that sets the skip status. Set episode skip status. And he's going to take in himself by mutable reference, almost certainly. And he's going to take in an episode, which looks like we are calling episode ID from the above. And I guess this feels kind of wrong. From like an application perspective, we don't want both a function that's like set watch status and set skip status. We kind of want some form of like combined function that's like set watch status to either skipped, unwatched, or watched with this specific date. And it looks like that's actually what we have right here, right? Right here, we have either they pass in a watch status and we insert that, or if they pass in none, we completely remove that from the database. What is TV Tracker? Yeah, okay. If you missed the beginning, we should be able to quickly launch this guy and give it a quick look. So this is the TV Tracker. So he's got a list of shows. We want to see how far in each one we are, and today we want to add support for flagging that an episode is skipped. Say I don't want to watch this episode, instead of only being able to set it as watched or unwatched, I want to be able to say, like, I don't fucking want to watch that ever. That's what we're working on today. Okay, so probably we change this set episode watch status. Instead of taking in an option of date, he's probably going to want to take in an enum that says watch status, essentially. Pub enum watch status. And he's going to be either watched at a specific date. He's going to be unwatched. Or now we're going to add this like third type. But for now, maybe we just leave watched and unwatched in there. Because we can like fix all of the places where that breaks before adding the new feature. And we can call that like a chunk of work. I just wanted to check also, I know that there's like get episodes, and I wanted to see what we do in there for our watch status. So we say, here's one watch date, and yeah, we give him one watch date, and we pull that probably from the same field. Okay. So watch status. So we're going to change this to watch status. Cool. Then on insertion, we're going to change this from option naive date to watch status. And certainly that's just going to start breaking everywhere. So we can just start cargo check, see all the places that breaks, and start dealing with them. So here we have watch status watched with date. Probably we should change this from an if else to a match, because we want to make sure that when we add our new field that we don't forget to update this. So we can say match. Well, we'll change this from watched actually to status. That makes more sense. Match status. And here we have watch status watched with a date. And here we run this code. Whoop, whoop. And then we say watch status unwatched. And we yoink this code. Whoop, whoop. Okay. And then we delete this shit. And we're chilling, I think. Now, somebody is calling this and they are unhappy. Because here, they are taking in a status with a option date, and now we want to convert this to a watch status. Ooh, interesting. So we have our other types live in like this like types directory. Which kind of makes sense, which is like, it looks like our like application level abstractions around concepts. And it seems like watch status living there actually makes more sense. So let's put it here, and we'll put it by episodes. And while we're here, we should probably change this watch date thing to a watch status. Although the UI is going to expect watch date. So maybe we leave that for now. We leave that for now. Because I don't want to fuck that up. We'll just have to handle conversion between the two eventually, but for now it's fine. Okay, so this guy now has to use types watch status. Okay, chillin'. And in our apps section now, where we imported watch status, we just need to fix that import to be from types. Chillin'. Okay, so now this guy's complaining because he is on the HTTP server. He's getting some request that's asking to set the watch status to a specific date. And here, since we don't want to fuck up the API yet, we'll do this. We'll say that our option naive date comes from this guy. Actually, is he already hard? Oh, he's already typed, which is sick. Okay, so we can say if let watch status is equal to what we have, match watch date, params watch date, and if it's some date, he's now watch status watched with the same date, and if it's none, he's watch status unwatched. And here we'll just slap a fix me on here and say update API, I guess. Fix me. No, there's no fix me to do yet. I guess we'll just leave it. And here he passes in the watch status. Cool. Cool. Is that everything? Is that everything? Yeah, alright. That's everything. Now we can get a little crazy. And we can support now a new type that is skipped. Okay. So now we go into our database. And we can go to set watch status. Oops. This is a test. Is it not called set watch status? What is it fucking called? Set episode watch status. Of course. Of course. And so now we're missing watch status skipped. Okay. So now where this gets a little crazy is that here we need to remove watched. Here we need to remove watched. Here we need to remove skipped. Here we need to add skipped. And here now we need to remove skipped. And add watch date. So probably what makes sense here is to maybe we start a transaction. Transaction is equal to self-connection transaction unwrap. For now, we'll fix the unwraps later. And maybe we just nuke everything before we even start. So we can just do this. So we can, not on self-connection, but on the transaction. And then we also delete, execute, delete from skipped episodes where episode ID is equal to 1. So now we're like in a clean state. And here we'll just unwrap because I don't want to deal with this yet. Hello, welcome. Okay, so now we're in a clean state, and now we don't have to worry about this. In the unwatched state, we just do nothing. We have nothing to add back. Where do you get the data from? We pulled it from TV Maze, which was just like an API that I Googled at some point when I was like, where do I get TV show information from if I don't want an API key? But it seems like pretty good. Like the data, I haven't noticed any problems with it. I've been using this for like months now, and it is not a real problem. Okay, so if we are watched, we insert the new date. If we are skipped, we just insert into a different table here. Transaction execute, insert or ignore into skipped. Ooh, actually, we should, maybe we even get crazy here and we say that when we create the, like, skipped tables, maybe we should say, unique episode ID. Right? That way we can't skip an episode multiple times, and we don't have to worry about it showing up in the database, like duplicating in the database. And then in that, like, insert or ignore into skipped episodes, that will then just be like, well, it was already there, so I give up. Okay, so he inserts only the episode. Cool. Yep. And then down here, we can just write, if everything succeeded so far, we can commit the transaction. Cool. Cool. And I think that makes sense. That makes sense so far to me. So if we are watched, we get watched. If we're skipped, we're getting skipped. And now we should probably look at updating our tests, because I worry about like database consistency here, and I actually use this for my life, so I don't want to like fuck up my database. So unit tests here are like actually kind of important. So first, let's fix the compilation failures that are happening because of the type change. So this should be watch status unwatched. And one more, 1987. This is watch status watched. Okay. So, cool. We are fucking up at SQLite error create skipped episodes on test remove show. So there's a test remove show. We're at line 1968. Oh. This is not valid because I put a comma at the end, probably. Okay, so everything's chillin', which is good. All of our tests around setting watch status are still working correctly. And now probably what we want to do is we want to try like just throwing in a little extra change here where we don't just set the thing to watch, we also set to skipped. And oops, this assertion needs to be in the right spot. So we copy paste all of this. And so here we set it to watch. We check that the watch date on the retrieved episode is what we set. And now we've set it to skipped. And I guess we expect that the watch date is none at this point. That seems reasonable. That seems reasonable to me. And that passes, right? If we didn't do this here, this test would fail, which is good. And I guess now the question is this what is reasonable? Watch date is maybe not what we want. We need some way to expose the watch state as skipped here, or else we can't check if we have like skipped or unwatched and stuff. So this gets a little fucking tricky, because now this is part of our API, and so the like website will break if we just replace watch date here with watch status. But maybe that's fine. Right, we could argue that we own the website as well, and so we don't have to worry about like backwards compatibility because the website's bundled with the app. So I'm kind of okay with just fucking fixing it. So we could go into where we're gonna look for like watch date essentially, and it looks like this is all Rust stuff. So the only place we have to worry about is show.js, which is probably who's responsible for setting like status of episodes and stuff. Probably, if I remember correctly, this show.js is probably the file used in the show page, like in the cargo run. Like essentially like this page. And probably he's responsible for setting all this stuff. Okay, so say we wanted to change it from watch date. We could go into our types. Say we want to change this to watch status. And this is now a watch status. This guy needs to be serializable. And probably debug as well. He probably needs all of the things that this guy has, actually. So we'll just copy paste this. He needs all of these. And now our database, who is responsible for getting episodes, he no longer is setting the watch date, but the watch status. Oh. Hold on. No, he's getting... Okay, let's see. What the fuck is going on here? Episode from row indices. I see. So we execute some query, get the result, and then we say, here are where each of the things were in the query that we just executed, and convert that into an episode for me, please. Which means that here, probably one of the things that we're going to need to add here is like a skip state. Which means that everybody who uses this is now going to have to like keep track of that. Okay. This is starting to make sense. So here we have already, we're checking watch date, and we'll just say skip status is equal to this is going to be a bool? No. What is this going to be? This is probably going to be an option I64, I think. Either there's going to be an episode index in there, or there's not. And then we say get indices.skip state. Okay. Let me unwrap for now. Now the watch status is going to be some sort of comparison of watch date and skip status. So we can say match watch date and skip status. If it's watched, so if we have some date, and we don't care about the other thing, we'll say that if the database happens to show skip status, and we should warn there. So we can say some date and some thing. In this case, we're gonna warn. Do we have log? How are we doing logging? Warn info. Who is providing info? Tracing. Use tracing warn. And here we'll just warn and say episode has both skipped and watched set, which should never happen. And then we'll say choosing watched. This isn't log, this is just like this. And maybe we even shove in the episode ID here. So here we can say ID must be what we're looking for. Okay. If they're both none, this is unwatched. Here we wanted watch status watch with the date. If it's some date and none, we're chilling. This is just the same as this. And if we are none and some, then we are skipped. Like this. Easy. Easy. Okay. So now we just say that our watch status is this. And replace this with watch status. Which he doesn't like. Oh, because I didn't spell status right here. S-T-A-T-U-S. Status. Now, everybody who is constructing this guy is going to fail now, which is good. So here, we now need to add another join on this query that will get the skip state as well. So here, we can just say left join skip episodes on episodes ID is equal to episode skipped episodes dot episode ID. And then here we say, please give me the skipped episodes episode ID. And then we say that the skip state is the 7th index now. Cool, cool. I guess we're just gonna have to kind of pray that we got the syntax there right. And just do it again on all these, because we just won't compile either, no matter what here. So we just do it again. Episode ID from episodes, left join this. And now we just also left join skipped episodes on skipped episodes episode ID is equal to episodes ID, okay. And we do the same thing here where we have the 7th field is now the skip state like this, and there's probably just one more. So from episodes left join, same left join, skipped episodes on skipped episodes dot episode ID is equal to episodes ID. Cool. Cool. Okay, cargo check. Are we chilling? Cargo test. We are not chilling because here people are looking at watch state and they want watch status now. And this should be watch status watched. Now we should test here that we are watch status skipped. And here we should test that we are watch status unwatched. Are we chilling now? Close. 1946. Oh, we need to change these to watch status as well. It's a miracle if these tests pass. Ooh! That's close. Okay, so 1298. We didn't. So when we were testing shows aired between, get episodes aired between. Here we didn't update this to have the 7th column. Skipped episodes dot episode ID. We're chilling? Hell yeah, baby. That's sick. Okay. So it looks like overall we're kind of looking good. We have support in the database now for setting the watch status as skipped, as well as retrieving it back as skipped. And now I guess the web UI side is just going to be fucking broken. So we can run this now, probably, and just kind of see where it starts falling over if we, like, refresh here. Interesting. Nothing is broken. It's kind of funny that when I click on these things, I'm getting logs. That's probably shouldn't be in there. Maybe we background this. Maybe we foreground it, kill it, and run it in the background with all output going to dev null. Just because I want to be able to, like, not fuck up my Vim. And we just start looking for watch date. And let's kind of just take a look at what this guy is doing here. So mark all unwatched. We don't care about marking. We only care about, like, reading right now. Set show watch status. So probably when we click this, we check the current state and then switch it. So here, if I click on these. Why am I not getting like any errors? I would expect errors here. Where is this console.log happening? Nowhere? Where is this log coming from? Ratings widget. 25. Why is this happening at all? Oh, I see. Sure. Okay. We'll ignore that for now. So what we need to get back is we need to get back the watch status. So let's see, when we call get on this guy, we get back the episodes here. And here we get watch status watched like this. I don't know if I like that in terms of like the way that's serialized. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want this. I prefer having like these enumerations set up as like type fields. So I want like no, that's fine. I guess it's fine. It doesn't really matter. We'll just use it how it is. So let's look for the code that sets the watch state, I guess. So we have a show page, and then he calls render show. What the fuck does this guy do? Posters, blah, blah, blah. YouTube, link. Okay, here, episodes. So we create a season header for each episode. We check if it's watched by checking the watch date. And so here, so first of all, I guess is this one of those JavaScript things where I'm supposed to write double equals here to prevent it from crashing when the thing, or from working correctly when the thing isn't defined? Oh, whatever. So we say watch status dot watched. So if this is present, then we're good. So when I refresh this now, it does look like it's working correctly to some extent. It's not clearing the episodes correctly. But maybe that's reasonable. Maybe. So this is what we're looking for. That looks reasonable. Watch status. Oh, so probably on set now, we're probably doing something fucking stupid. Yeah. So on here, we want to say if watch. If we want to preserve behavior, we don't care about skipped. We only care about watched and unwatched. So we'll say what? If the watch date is watch status watched is not null, we set the watch date to null. We should probably fix the like incoming side of the API as well. If it wants to be, we probably want the incoming setting thing to match the outgoing thing. So we should look at our server, and somewhere in here we hacked out watch status here, and so now we should just say we expect watch status here to be a watch status. Okay, and this can be what params watch status. Yep, that makes sense. So we need to kill the server and run it again. Maybe we'll actually look at the output here. So what's happening here? When I try to unwatch an episode, are we sending like a put somewhere? Put on this episode. We're setting request. We're setting our watch status to watched. And if I click it again, we're still setting our watch status to watch. So we're just not setting it, but we're setting the watch date to null, which is a problem. So here, we should be setting our watch status to what? Something like an object that's unwatched or something? Can we look at like, what do we get on get episodes? Episodes, response. So certainly some of these are unwatched. I see. So the watch status is unwatched as a string in that case. So here we write like this. Okay. And otherwise, we set the watch status is equal to an object with watched set to the date. Is that right? Date string? I feel like this isn't right. I don't think that this is how I'm supposed to make an object in this language. JavaScript create object with properties. Oh, we were close. We were close. Just no quotes. All right. Cool. So probably now, if I refresh this and I unwatch, watch, unwatch, watch. Okay. So let's make sure that, so I watched season 3, episode 5, refresh, it's still watched, unwatch, refresh, still unwatched. Okay. So we're chilling. We do need to look at the other places where watch date is used in here though. So if we are marking aired as watched. Ah, I see. So when we click this button at the top of the screen, we can like mark everything as watched and unwatched, and these are probably just still fucking broken. So if I click this, it does nothing happens. So I click this, nothing happens. So we just need to fix these guys as well. So this is watch status is equal to watched with the date string now. And marking all unwatched is just setting watch status to unwatched. Cool. And so now probably if I refresh here, mark all unwatched. That worked. Mark all watched. Chillin'. Chillin', chillin', chillin'. Okay. So I think that we can kind of say here, adding support for skipping episodes in the database is done. And now we've also kind of added them to the API, just kind of like as a like result of the way we did it. And now we have to add some form of like UI way to present the skipped state as well as set the skipped state. So I think probably what makes sense here is maybe like on the left-hand side of these guys, we'll just add a couple icons. Like we can add like a little skip arrow as well as a eyeball for watched and like maybe an eyeball with like a line through them for unwatched. And you can like pick one of them and that's like the watch state for the episode. Maybe. So I don't know how to like actually make icons. So I'm just going to make really shitty versions of them as placeholders and then fix it later. Because I don't want to struggle with that here. So what, like, we have, like, skip? skip. Let's make it a little... We have, like, a... Whoa. Like a little... I want, like, an arrow like this. Yeah. And I guess maybe we don't want these to be square. Maybe square's fine. Fuck it. Save as work, TV tracker, res, client, image, skip. We'll call this skip episode. Oh yeah, like a skip until isn't crazy. Like if you want to say, I want to skip every single fucking episode. I think that this is going to be uncommon enough that for now I'm going to be okay with just spam clicking. But it does seem like something that we will, like is desirable. Skip episode, ping. And then what, we have like a watched button that's going to look kind of like an eyeball. How do like eyeballs look? They have like, They're kind of like this, and then like an eyeball in the middle. Sure, fuck it. Save as watched. And then we just draw a line through it for unwatched. Sure. Unwatched. Doesn't fucking matter. We'll come back to this in the future. Maybe we won't. Maybe I'll think it's funny once we get it in here. I'll be like, that's entertaining enough to leave it as is. Okay. So how are we making these like widgets? Are we like using like an HTML template, or are we just like hand constructing the HTML in JavaScript? Looks like hand constructing. So we create the season headers, then we figure out our classes here. Okay. And then here we just add a link. I see. Each episode is a link to nothing. And we probably just want to change that. So here, we're going to add in for each one of these guys, we're going to have 3 buttons, I guess. I don't really know. How do you make like a button that is an image? I don't really know that. HTML button image button. That's kind of what I want. So input type image works as a button, but can have event handlers attached to it. Alternatively, you can use CSS to style your button as with a background image and set the borders and margins. This seems reasonable to me. Okay, so we'll have like watched button, and that's going to be a element that is of type input, I guess. And for now, let's just div append child watched button. And I don't really know what that's going to do. So let's just kind of refresh and see. Okay, that seems reasonable so far. Oh, Jesus. So now we want to set the like type of the button to an image. So watched dot type probably is equal to image. Probably. I don't fucking know. And we just have to say that the source is equal to whatever that eyeball was. So it's like watch.png that we put in like image. Somewhere I make like a YouTube button. That is probably stored in the same spot. Yeah, so I see. It's image / watch.png. Probably. I don't fucking know. Let's just refresh and see. Looks like he's mad about something. Watched is not defined. Right, because these are watched button. Of course. Of course. Refresh. Okay. That's something. I don't like that the background's like fucking gray. Can we do like... How do I get like alpha 0? Background opacity. Can I set like CSS background alpha? Background color. But I want like... Oh, here we go. Opacity. Background transparent. That sounds right. Thank you. Perfect. Yep. That's what I want. So probably I add a class to these guys. Watch button. Class list. Class list. It's not add. And here we'll just add a like watched button. I guess. And then in our style sheet, we can add a watched button thing that just says background transparent. So now, probably when I refresh, all of them look like that. Sick. And I guess I kind of want to change the color of them based off of if I've clicked them or not. I don't know if you can do that. HTML tint image. Tint image. So there, you put like something over top. Image filter. Ah. Oh, that's kind of fun. Oh, that's neat. That's cool. I've never seen that before. So you can like add like filter. What was those guys? Sepia, saturate, brightness, hue, rotate. Ooh. This is kind of fun. Okay. How did we get there? We were looking at this guy. Inspect. Filter. And he's just like letting me click on that, which is kind of cool. So like, what if I invert and set this to like 100%? Invert 100%. Okay. I see. I guess I probably want all the white stuff to actually be alpha 0 is probably how I want to handle this. Can I do that with color paint? If I just like grab the dropper or is there paint bucket? Can I paint bucket this stuff with alpha 0? Yeah, nice. Nice, I can. Open. Watched. Let me just give them the same treatment where we paint bucket with alpha 0. Boom, boom. Save. Nice. And we can open... Oh, fuck. Why is open recent just grayed out now? Fuck off. We can do the same. Same for skip episode. So we take this guy, alpha 0, paint bucket, boom. Save. Perfect. Perfect. So now if I refresh, and then I do the same shit where I take this guy and I say filter, invert 100%. He's now white, and when we say like background red. Oh, that's interesting. So he inverts like the whole thing. Okay. Can we add a color here as well? Like, is that one of the things that we can do with these filters? Where we want to add like hue, rotate, sepia. What is sepia? Can we like sepia 100%? Okay, wait, yeah. Okay. I guess we'll just use... We can easily handle grayscale with this filter thing. By just like how much we invert. CSS filters. That seems reasonable. So we'll just pick which one. It would be kind of nice if you could like color them a little bit. What are my options? Blur, brightness, contrast, grayscale, hue, rotate. hue rotation doesn't seem right, but saturate maybe does. Well, I don't know what sepia means. Sepia, giving it a warmer, more yellow brown. I see. So you could like use sepia to make it brown, then hue rotate to make it a different color, probably. Which is kind of funny, funny way to do that, but it's fine. We'll just maybe we make them gray, and we make the one that is active black. That seems reasonable. That seems reasonable. So here we say watch button background transparent. We probably want these to be like in line with the image. So div, this div that these guys are going in. Oh, this is like for the whole page. If we look back here and we look at the inspector and we inspect element here, these guys are just adjacent. So we probably want this like watch status and the link to be like squished together. So we want some sort of like episode holder. Document create element div probably makes sense. And so then these guys get stuck into episode holder like this. And div append child episode holder. And I misspelled holder here. Hodler. Holder. Okay. So now if I refresh, now I look at this guy, and these guys are both linked together. And then we can give this guy a class. Holder class list add. And we'll call this like episode holder or something. Whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. And the episode holders will have what? They'll be like display flex so that everything gets stuck in a row together, I think. Yep, that's close. We want to set the height of these images to be smaller. Style editor. So can we say like height is like 100% or something? No. What happens if I just set these like really small? Okay, that works. So interesting. It looks like the padding on this guy is like fucking massive. Can I say like inspect? Like, what am I looking at here? I've got padding of 10, so let's just drop that padding down to 0. Padding 0 pixels. And now we can make the height larger. Okay. Let's make it. Do we have to set it in pixels? It seems like okay. If I'm like zoomed out a little bit, can I really tell what those are? Not really. There's also like weird spacing between this now, so probably here I want like padding 0 pixels. Maybe because I'm putting divs, I don't need like new lines in between here anymore, probably. So if I like just go into like the first one of these, just delete this. That looks a lot more reasonable. Okay, so we'll delete those new lines now. And we should probably copy some of those style sheets things that we changed over here. So we just changed these. Okay. Refresh. That's not awful. Everything's kind of small, it feels like. Oh, but that's okay. Fuck it for now. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, let's add in the skipped and unwatched buttons. So here we just do the same shit. This is the unwatched button. And probably want unwatched, then skipped, then watched. Skipped. Okay. And this goes to skipped. Probably skipped episode is what we called it, I think. Watch button used before initialization. Because these guys should be unwatch button and skip button. Are we chilling? No. Skipped is not defined. What the fuck? Oh. What the fuck? Skipped button. Class list dot add. How the hell did I end up doing that? That's crazy. Submit query. Hello? Oh, because skipped episode .png does not exist. I see. What do we call it? Skip episode. Of course. Of course. Okay. Now for the set one, we just want to pick which one is like the one that's active, I guess. And make it gray. This is too small. It's just like 100% too small. I guess at 100%, everything else just looks too big. That's fine. Let's go here and we'll say, depending on the watch state, we will set the class on which button. So here we'll say, if episode watch status watched is not equal to null, we set the watched. I guess we set the other two to like more transparent. So we say, maybe we say watch button, class list add active. Sure. I don't fucking know. And then we can have like watched button active has filter. This is just normal, and the otherwise we have filter of like invert by 50% to make it gray. Is that crazy? What does that fucking do to us? Okay, so clearly we fucked up something. Missing bracket before condition. Oh, here. We're in JavaScript, so we need those. Okay. So this isn't working. So he has watch button. We just didn't add the class. Why not? If episode watch status watch is not equal to null, console log episode watched. Is he not chill with that? He is. Oh, because we just fucked this up. I see. I think we just made a mistake here. So can we say that if this is the case, then we set the filter to 0% or something? There we go. That's working a little better. The gray and the black don't stand out well enough. So probably we need that 50% to be like 80%. All right, that's not bad. That's like, that'll work. We'll make that work. So I think we can actually just do this. We can just say this guy's inverted by 80%, and then if they, in this specialized case, we just set the filter back to 0. Let's try that. Hell yeah, baby. Okay, that's not awful. So now we just need to add, like, click handlers to each of these guys. And when they're clicked, it'll change the episode state. Okay. So, unwatched button on click is equal to I'm not really sure if I just like add a lambda there, if it's going to keep track of the episode ID for me. What do we do on click here? On click, oh yeah, they just do this. Okay, cool. So if I click the unwatch button, I call set show watch status episode ID. And instead, I'm going to call this set episode unwatched. So set show watch status, and we're going to change this to set episode unwatched. And I think that a lot of this is going to look the same, where we clone the existing episode. That makes sense. And we just unconditionally now will set this to unwatched. We'll put the episode, and we're into the show. Cool. And we can do the same thing for set episode skipped. Like this, skipped, and set episode watched. I guess this guy's going to be a little more complicated, so we'll copy paste from the original. Set episode watched. And it's just this. Alright. Alright. And then we probably delete this set episode watch status. Set show watch status. We just don't hook this up anymore. Cool. Okay, set episode skipped on this guy. And set episode watched on this guy. This should be skipped button. And watch button is going to set the episode watched, not skipped. Easy. And then we have to handle this like graying out shit. So else if else, and this is going to be the watch status is equal to skipped, I think. Else and assert. I don't know. Fuck it. Whatever. This is the skipped button is the active one, else the unwatched button is the active one. Refresh. Holy fuck. Wait, that's actually working. Hell yeah, that's sick. Wait, that's not bad. That actually doesn't look that shit, to be honest. I honestly expected it to be a lot worse than that. No, that's not awful at all. The only thing here is we just probably want to change the color of these back to, like, neutral and not make them links. But that's pretty chill. So here, instead of a link, we're just going to make this a... Hey man, what are you using for this project? Raw dogging JavaScript and HTML on a Rust server using SQLite as the backend. And I actually don't know what we're using for the HTML server. Let's look. Server is using server Tide tied for the server. But I think I wrote it intentionally in a way that I could swap that out later if I didn't like it. Because I think that I was planning at some point to roll my own HTTP server as a meme. But didn't get there. You should try Leptos for web frontend. Was that Leptos? Rust web framework. What's the difference between this and... Oh, I see. Oh, that's crazy. What the fuck? So they're basically making WASM bindings, I assume, for... Oh, what the fuck is that? Dude, this is... That's crazy. Okay, so you make a WASM function that I assume Leptos probably comes with a JavaScript framework as well, I assume, that would walk your WASM module and look for components, and probably you have some sort of like root component that you would flag somehow. That's fucking nuts. This is like, okay, so I will say this is like far from my ideology on how you should write software. I'm of the opinion that like writing code for a framework is kind of backwards. Because like I think that like you should write software in a way where basically anything you use has a chance of dying, right? That's kind of like my view. So if I adopt Leptos and I write my thing in Leptos and Leptos goes away, is it like we're so fucking locked in, right? Like we're writing, instead of like writing an app that uses Leptos, we would be like writing a Leptos app. And in my mind, that's like backwards from how I would want to design things. I would want to design things so that like I have a library that I'm maybe using for UI, and if I want to swap it out, same idea, but Leptos is too cool. This is fucking cool. I will say that. Reading like the 40 seconds of documentation reading I've just done this is crazy. Like, that's wild. And they're claiming it's fast too, which is also kind of wild. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Okay, I got distracted. What was I doing? I was changing this so that these guys aren't links anymore. Changing this so these guys aren't links anymore. So we were in our show JavaScript, probably. And here, instead of a link, we just stick this in like a paragraph? Is P the right thing here? And we probably just nuke these classes. Okay. Sure, and then we set the text to be the link text. Probably everything else just chills. Okay, so now we've got some like weird alignment shit, which is annoying. That's annoying for sure. Were we doing some like custom CSS there to deal with that before? We just had watched, we were setting color. Maybe, what if I just make this like a div instead of a paragraph? Does that change this? Ah, there we go. That looks better. It's also gray now, which I don't like anymore. But, you know, the green and red had some flair to it. Oh, this was the green and red and yellow was also flagging stuff like if the show is aired or not. So maybe what we do is we leave the coloring on. Okay. And cause in shows where everything hasn't aired yet, what's an example of that? We can go to the calendar and we can... Nope. Oh, that's because that's back in time. Right, like things are yellow here if they haven't aired yet. So maybe we just need another color for skipped. Yeah, like maybe we put orange for skipped or something. to say, like, I don't know. Doesn't fucking matter. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Yeah, we can do that. So here we can say that the watch class is either watched, unwatched, or skipped. So here we can just reuse this. We can say here the watch class is unwatched. Do let bindings have like local scope? So I guess we have to say let watch status is unknown. And then here we set the watched class to watched. Watch class to skipped. And the watch class to unwatched. Okay. And then here we have watched is green. Skipped is orange. And if it's aired and unwatched, it's red. I guess all of these, we only set the color if they're aired. So if it's aired and watched, it's green. If it's aired and skipped, it's orange. If it's aired and unwatched, it's red. If it's unaired, it's yellow. Let's see. How does that look? That's not awful. Because then at a glance, here I can see like, oh, I skipped this season. Sure. Yeah, that's not terrible. It looks kind of like fucking primary school. Where it's just like colors for the sake of having colors. But it's not terrible. I don't know if I like it. Maybe I would like it better if it was just black. Like black and yellow or something. Yellow for unaired, black for... Or maybe black and gray. Black for aired, gray for unaired. Fuck, it doesn't really matter though. I'll leave it like this for now. Just because I don't want to get like too bogged down in UI details. We can kind of say that now we've kind of add this thing to the UI. And I guess the last piece here is that if I skip episodes, right? Say I go to Better Call Saul and I set all of these guys to skipped. Womp, 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 womp. What I want now is for in this view to not show Better Call Saul anymore. Because there are no episodes that I haven't flagged as skipped. So how does that work? How does that work? So maybe we're going to say at 2300, we are going to remove skipped from up next. Let's see. So somewhere we are saying up next. Where does that come from? Really? Nowhere? Oh, next up, sorry. Next up. So this comes from a watch list. Okay. And in my watch list, I render stuff. And how do I determine if they are up next? Next up. I use this next up shows and I check if the show's episodes watched is greater than 0. Finished if the episodes watched is the episodes aired. I see. So somewhere I'm saying episodes watched. I'm setting this by counting. I'm counting the numbers. The number of episodes watched? Is that right? Episodes watched. Where does this come from? Here, this is column 8 here in this fucking nasty query. Where's the query? Where's the query? Get shows query. Here we go. There's this fucking shit show of a query here. Watch count. And I am counting all episodes that have watch status. I see. So I guess we can also count the number of episodes that have been skipped. Can you do that? can I count multiple things at once in SQL? Probably what makes sense here is to pull up SQLite browser and start trying to figure some shit out. So we can count star from episode, what are my like table names? Episode watch status. Episode watch status. Okay. Select. So we count the number of elements in episode watch status. Where episode ID, or if we're show ID is equal to some show. So let's look at like our shows in here, and let's just look at like, I don't fucking know what we're looking at just now. We're looking at Better Call Saul is the one we just fucked up. So where show ID is equal to 145. Where, okay, so that's not how this works. Not how this works. We have show ID count from episode watch status. Oh, I see. Group by show ID. So we're looking at episode watch status by show ID. Does episode shows watch status have show ID? No, it only has episode ID. So they're joining episodes. I see. So we're doing a select start these from episode watch status left join show episodes on episode watch status dot episode ID is equal to show ID episode ID. Okay. Where episode dot show ID is equal to 145. That should work? No. No such column episode dot show ID. Episodes, plural. Episodes. Play? Okay, so we have 40 episodes of Better Call Saul that have watch. And if we change this to say skipped episodes, we should have, right, because this has to be left join this, play. We have 23 skipped episodes. So we need to like sum these up somehow. Which I don't know how to do. So I guess the first thing that we're gonna have to do is we're also gonna have to left join both. So we're gonna look at episodes first, and we're going to join skipped episodes on this, and we're going to join the watched episodes. Watch status, yep, on episode watch status. Episode ID is equal to episode's ID. Maybe that's actually good enough. 63. That makes sense. So that's the. Oh no, that doesn't. This doesn't work. So because we're now counting everything, but we want where skipped episodes dot episode ID is not null. And show ID is equal to 145. So this should give us back that 23. Yep. Okay, we need to go back into Better Call Saul, and we need to mark one of these as unwatched. That will make this clear. So if we look at just all episodes, we just count all episodes. 63. Fuck. Do we need to reload the database? We might need to. Well, let's see. Skipped episodes. If I hit play here again. Oh, it does update. So this is 22. I press play again. 21. Okay, so cool. So we found 21 episodes that have been skipped. And we can just say, or episode watch status dot episode ID is not null. So that's not working. Do I need to put this in brackets? Where this, why doesn't it like that? Result in your, oh, this bracket is in the wrong spot. That's why. This bracket needs to go here. So where either of these are not null, and the show ID is 145. Okay, wait, that's working, I think. So there are 61 episodes that we have either we have not that we've either skipped or watched. Is that true? If I take this out, oopsies. If I take all of this stuff out, where we just only look at Better Call Saul, 63 total episodes, and we haven't watched 2 of them. Okay, wait, that's actually easy. That's super easy. So we can go back into our SQL query here. And we just replace this with this. So select count from episodes, left join the skipped episodes, left join the watched episodes, where we've either watched or skipped it, group by show ID. And we count those. And now this is called, we're still calling it watch count, but now that should be watched or skipped count. And if I cargo run this, actually it's probably already running. So kill 2, cargo run. That should fix it so that Better Call Saul will, if we mark everything as skipped, oh fuck. He's mad. No such column watch count dot count. So what did I just change? Something before was flagged as count. Oh, I had this, this was show ID count as count. This is what I did before. Okay, refresh. We're chilling. Okay, so now if I go back into shows, Better Call Saul's almost done, and if I flag both of these guys as skipped, he's done. Hell yeah, baby! That's sick. That's sick. That's, yeah, super cool. So now if I set these two, that guy is now considered partially watched. Now, it might be a little nice to show skipped versus watched as like orange versus green in this bottom bar. But honestly, I don't think it really matters. That would kind of be nice. In which case, we wouldn't do it this way. We would do it like this. So we would look at instead of replacing this, we would just copy paste what we did here, except we would do it as a skip episodes. And we would call this skip count. And then we can individually look at these things, which seems kind of reasonable. Seems kind of reasonable. Which means that now we also need to pull in the skipped count and show indices now will have a skipped count or a skipped, what do we call episodes watched, episodes skipped? size. Okay, making sense so far. And now down here, we need to do this same thing, but for episodes skipped. Skipped. We'll just unwrap for now, because I don't want to deal with errors, and we'll call this episodes skipped. Like this. Okay, and then our TV show is going to have not just episodes watched, but episodes skipped. This is going to say episodes skipped. Yup. It's all lining up. What else are we missing? Probably nothing. Cargo. No, I think there's a couple other places where that has to be updated. Show indices. So this is get shows. Episodes skipped is now going to be index 12. This is using the same query, so episodes skipped is going to be 12. Okay, cargo run. So now if I go to shows and I look at the network activity, he's failing because I have a syntax error near a dot. Great. That's a very uninformative error. But it must be in here. Failed to prepare get show request. Great. Aha! I forgot a comma here. I forgot a comma. Easy fix. Easy fix. Refresh. Hell yeah. And now if I look at here, I must have requested shows, and I can look at the response. And most of these have episodes skipped 0, but it would be nice to figure out what we saw. We saw Better Call Saul was 145. So we can just look at 145 here. Episodes aired 63, episodes skipped 23, episodes watched 40. Hell yeah, baby. Which means that we go back to that next up thing. And this is finished if show episodes watched plus show.episodes skipped is equal to episodes aired. And now we want to show orange for the card at the bottom here. So somewhere we must be using that. So we can probably just look at the CSS here to give us a clue of where to start. Inspect. So we have show progress. Show progress. So how the fuck does this work? We have num watched, num unwatched. Okay. So we set here, we look at the show progress, we set the progress as episodes watched over episodes aired, and then the width I see is the percentage of that. Okay. And then we put what? We put like 2 divs back to back, probably? Like a watched and unwatched box. Yeah, here we go. Unwatched box. And he's just going to fill the rest of the area. So all we have to do is add in a skipped div. I think that's probably it. So we can say here we have a skipped div has the attribute num skipped, which we're going to make the background of it orange. Yeah. And we just need to calculate the progress as skipped progress. And this is going to be episode skipped over episode aired. Episodes skipped over episodes aired. This is going to be skipped progress. Yup. Yup. And then we do the same thing. If skipped progress, the width of the skipped bar is going to be the skip progress times 100%. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work. Wait. So if I watch a season of Billions and I skip a season of Billions, fuck. What's the problem here? So here we have num watched. Wait, why is num watched background orange? Oh, because I fucked this up. This should be num skipped. Okay. So now we have everything green, no orange, which is a problem. So did I fuck up? So skip div. Aha! Should be skipped here. It's a problem with copy pasting code. It's the problem. Refresh. Okay, we go back to shows. Hell yeah, dude. So we have... Oh, look at that. That's so sick. So we see that like most of it's watched, some of it's skipped, some of it's unwatched. And if we take those last few unwatched episodes and say, we're going to skip those. Hell yeah, dude. That's so sick. So we go and we mark this. Oh, that's so fucking cool. That's actually working like a lot better than I thought it would. That's actually so sick. So I come in here and I'm like, skip. Look at shows. And we see some orange in there. That's so fucking sick. All right. I'll take it. I think that's a lot of good progress for today. That kind of like accomplishes everything that I wanted to. So what did we do? We started with this thing where we could click on these guys and set them to watch or unwatch. And like we basically just added this third state. So we hooked it up to the database, added some tests for the database, hooked it up to the UI, fixed the web page to like handle that new response. And then we added these like little UI buttons to say unwatched, skipped, or watched, which now correctly flag in this view if I skip all of the remaining episodes that have aired. Boom, 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 boom. This show will no longer show up in next up. And we can see if we start skipping episodes, those are like flagged as pieces that we've skipped if you look really closely here. There are now orange blocks that say percentage of the episodes, percentage of the season or of the TV show that we skipped. Looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that that's a good amount of work done for today and kind of solves my problem of wanting to watch a TV show without watching the whole thing. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked what you saw, stream most days around 1 or 2 o'clock Pacific time. I took a couple days off last week because I was feeling kind of sick, but I think we're back on the grind. And we're trying to cover a variety of things. So we've done some like operating system stuff, some AI stuff. We've done some like Linux stuff like webcam and keyboard input. We've worked on this. Can't remember what else we've done recently. We're trying to cover a lot. I think what I want to do in the near future is I'm kind of interested in looking at a terminal emulator, because I was looking at someone talking about forking. You're supposed like the way terminal emulators work. There's like this like fork with PTY, and there's this like device handle that you're supposed to interact with, and I don't understand why it exists. So I kind of think that I'm going to try to write a terminal emulator in the next week or so. Try to take a look at that. So that's what's coming up next. If you want to watch but you're not around for stream, there's a YouTube link in the Twitch description, as well as a GitHub link and a Discord link. For GitHub, this code will go up on GitHub pretty soon, probably because it's like an actual project that I want to keep around. And the Discord's for if you want to like get announcements of when VODs and streams start and go up or whatever, as well as like chat about shit offline. And if you're watching on YouTube and you want to swing by on Twitch, there should be a Twitch link in the YouTube description. Otherwise, I think that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Oh, chat message. Wow, look at how you code is like the opposite of how I code. I get stuck for 20 minutes on the stupid thing. Well, I think like the trick to like not getting stuck is just to like keep breaking down. Like there's always something that you can question and figure out like, well, why is this not the way I expect it to be? And I think the key is just to always try to keep breaking stuff down into smaller problems. And you know, I've got a lot of years of this under my belt, so identifying the correct path is there's a lot of intuition built in there, so you'll get there for sure. All right, I think that's it for me. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.